Have you ever wondered if a thriller could actually predict the future? Well, today we're diving into a story that seems to do just that. We're going to break down how a work of fiction might just be the clearest way to understand a real-world crisis that's unfolding right now. Now, this quote you're seeing, it's not from a movie script. This is a real, sharp warning delivered just a few days ago at a huge summit between Greece, Israel, and Cyprus. It was a crystal-clear message to anyone dreaming of rebuilding old empires in the Eastern Mediterranean, a really powerful statement on the world stage. And that's where things get kind of spooky. There's this political thriller, Hagia Sophia, that seems to have mapped out the entire strategic thinking behind this alliance months before any of this happened. So how on earth could a novel foreshadow reality with such incredible accuracy? That's exactly what we're about to unpack. Okay, first things first, let's just look at the evidence. We're going to put the book's plot right up against what happened at that summit. And honestly, the parallels are pretty jaw-dropping. Just look at how specific this gets. In the thriller, you've got deep cooperation between Greek and Israeli intelligence, the EYP and Mossad. In reality, the summit created a formal security pact between the three countries. The book talks about a made-up defense system called the Achilles Shield. The real-life summit, it focused on making their militaries work together seamlessly. And the thriller names specific joint military exercises, Medusa and LiveX 2025. Well, what do you know? Planning for LiveX 2025 was a confirmed item on the real agenda. And finally, a key plot point in the book is the sabotage of the East Med gas forum. And in the real world, securing those energy corridors was a central goal of the summit. You can't make this stuff up. So to really understand why all these tensions are so raw today, the source material for the novel tells us we have to look back. We have to see how these really deep historical wounds are actually being used as weapons in the 21st century. The whole backstory of the thriller is grounded in the real and very traumatic history of the Pontic Greeks. This timeline gives you the key moments. The Pontic Greek genocide starting in 1919, the Asia Minor catastrophe in 1922 that led to a huge population exchange, and you see these refugees making new homes in places like Thessaloniki. This isn't just ancient history. It's a living memory that shapes the entire region's identity today. And this slide just perfectly sums up the problem. For Pontic Greeks, May 19th is Genocide Memorial Day. It's a deeply solemn day of remembrance. But if you look at the official Turkish state perspective, in their own press release, they call these baseless allegations. The exact same date means two completely opposite things, and that clash is at the heart of the tension in both the book and the real world. And of course, the title of the thriller itself points to one of the most powerful symbols of all, the Hagia Sophia. For hundreds of years, it was the center of the Byzantine Empire and the heart of Orthodox Christianity. That immense symbolic weight is a huge driver in the plot, representing everything that's culturally at stake. So, how does all this history play out in the modern world? We're going to shift gears now from those past grievances to the strategic reality of today. This source material shows us that Greece is building this incredibly powerful new network of allies, and it's completely redrawing the security map of the region. And money talks, right? Well, take a look at this number, 25 billion euros. That's the mind-blowing amount of money Greece is pouring into a massive military modernization program. This is a core fact pulled right from the research that the thriller is based on. We're not talking about a small upgrade. This is a total strategic reinvention. And Greece isn't doing this alone, not by a long shot. They're building a whole new web of strategic partners. You've got the big players like France, Israel, and the USA, but also really important regional powers like Egypt, the UAE, and Italy. This network shows a clear strategy to build security that goes way beyond old traditional alliances. But here's the thing you have to understand. This isn't just about warships and fighter jets. There is a huge economic angle to this. The goal is to make Greece Europe's green outlet by 2035 through these new energy interconnectors. So if you're trying to become a vital energy hub for the entire continent, you better believe that protecting those energy routes becomes priority number one. All right, now we're going to talk about the weapons of the 21st century, because the fight today isn't just about jets and ships. As the thriller shows us, it's also being fought in the shadows, with weapons that you often can't even see. First up, mass surveillance. The source material digs into companies like Hikvision, a Chinese firm that's a world leader in surveillance tech. The fact that its cameras are everywhere, combined with its links to the state, has raised huge security flags in the West. This is the technological frontline of the new conflict. And then you've got spyware. We're talking about super sophisticated stuff like Pegasus, made in Israel that can get around pretty much any traditional defense. It's reportedly be used by governments to spy on journalists, activists, and political enemies, which shows you the battlefield has literally moved inside our own phones. But the weapons aren't all high-tech. The book's research also highlights ideological weapons, like the Grey Wolves, a Turkish ultra-nationalist group. Organizations like this are shown as tools for mobilization, used to export an ideology and stir up tensions far beyond their own borders. Okay, so we've looked at the crazy parallels, the deep history, the new alliances, and these modern invisible weapons. In this last section, we're going to pull all those threads together to really get to the bottom of what this thriller is trying to do. So at the center of the book's plot is this fictional bad guy, right? A shadowy group called the Shadow Convent. In the story, this group is pulling all the strings behind the scenes. They're the ones connecting all the real-world dots we've talked about, the history, the politics, the military moves, and turning it all into one big orchestrated conflict. So how do you fight an enemy you can't see? Well, the book proposes this really cool idea called AIO, which stands for Absolute Integrity Override. It's basically a mental tool, a way of thinking that helps you cut through all the noise, all the propaganda, the fake news, the political spin, so you can see the cold, hard, strategic truth of what's really going on. And this is the whole point, the big reveal. The thriller Hagia Sophia isn't a crystal ball. It's not trying to predict the future. The source material is very clear about this. It's designed to be a geopolitical simulation. It takes real, verifiable data, everything from defense spending to historical documents, and weaves it all into a story that makes a really complicated reality understandable. It's an analysis tool just disguised as a novel. Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. If a fictional story can simulate our geopolitical world with this kind of accuracy, connecting dots that normal analysis might miss, then it makes you wonder, where exactly does the simulation end and the warning begin?